Alright guys, this is our Blackboard site. Of course, most of you are familiar with it. Just so that you know, the Organizations tab, you will find the English education community there, and that's a good place to find documents related to English Ed, not necessarily to this course though. So let's look through this. There are no announcements right now just because it is April 30th right now as I'm speaking on the screencast. There will be announcements here though. You can find instructor information under the instructor info. And the syllabus, of course, is under syllabus. Now let's go to the assignments page. As you can see, this is where you're going to turn in, through Turnitin, your reading logs. So your reading logs, all 5 of them are going here. You're going to do them weeks 1 through 5, and the last week you're not going to have one. Your final blog is also going to be uploaded through Turnitin. Now, under rubrics, you'll find specific rubrics for discussion posts, for the final blog. We'll talk about the final blog a little bit later. What I'm going to pull up right now is your discussion post rubric. So, as you can see, the discussion post is broken up into questions. There's no word limit for each question, but I am looking for content and clarity. Now, some of these questions will require some research, and like I mentioned in the lecture, in the first lecture, if you haven't seen that yet, you should go ahead and do so. You'll want to watch the videos, you'll want to watch the lectures, you'll want to read all of the readings from the reading folder each week before you respond. And then what I call the initial post is your response to those questions, and then you'll have 2 responses to other people's posts. Try and vary who you're talking to. It can be a response to the question that they pose. It can be a reaction to their post, but whatever you do, you have to get up to 50 words in those responses. Now in your posts, where you're answering the questions that I ask you, you have to have at least 500 words. I expect you to use at least 2 quotes, one from the reading and one from the video lecture. That shows me you're watching and reading and helps you articulate your thoughts better. So this is kind of the rubric that I'm going to be using, the points possible. Using those quotes will be 15 points, following all the instructions and including all the information necessary, so that's basically the content, and then including a question for the rest of the class to respond to is 5. Keep in mind the icebreaker, so it's always the first question. It does not count towards the 500 word minimum. This also counts as your attendance, so if you don't post by, it's actually not 12 p.m., it's 5 p.m., you will be counted as absent. You have to respond to 2 people. So that's how I look at the 50 point total for the discussion post. So like I mentioned here, you can respond to a thread of posts. So say if John initially posts a great question and Sally answers him with this awesome response, you can also answer John and Sally and continue the conversation. And if John wants to respond to Sally in his own thread, that's perfectly fine too. So now going into the course library, you will see that each week is here. Your readings from the Multicultural Reader Collection textbook are underneath each week. And then once you go into the folder, now my Blackboard's loading really slowly, so I've already opened up all the tabs. The week 1 reading, lectures, and videos, this is not quite all of the things that you're going to see. I haven't uploaded everything yet, but you will see that you have additional readings that you need to complete. And for example, in week 2, you already have links to the YouTube videos to watch. I can embed YouTube videos into Blackboard, but it makes Blackboard run super uber slow. So the links are there for you to access. Just copy and paste them into YouTube and it should work. You can see that there are other things to read. Now, this additional readings, if you open it up, it'll actually include links to readings that I'd like you to do. Now, this is the place that you want to go to. This is where you would click on Student Tools and you will scroll through and click on Discussion Board to get to the discussion board, the main part of this class. Now, as you can see, there are your grading sections right here, and I'll upload and keep grades updated as fast as I can over these 6 weeks. You won't be using anything else in here. Pretty much all you're going to be using are that My Grades tool and the discussion board. So the discussion board looks like this. Okay, as you can see, I've already posted the discussion week 1. I think the easiest way to do this so that you're not relying on discussion on Blackboard is copying and pasting the questions into a Word document so that you can save it onto your computer, and then copying and pasting what you found into the thread. So what you do is you would click on discussion to post into the discussion week 1. You would create a thread and you can say, response to discussion week 1, whichever way you want to do that. That's completely up to you. So once everyone uploads, there'll be between 18 and 20 threads in that. You don't want to click on create forum. That's my job. I'm doing that for each week. So as you can see, week 2 is already uploaded. There are going to be tasks where you would need to upload, for example, PowerPoints that you create. So when you do that, you would just, click into this forum, you'd make your own thread, and then when you copy and paste your answers, you would click attach file. It's pretty simple. If you need help with that, just let me know. I'll show you how to do that. Now, remember that the discussion board, there is no discussion board for week 3. That's the oral defense, and you can listen to the lecture, the intro lecture, to get some more information about that. So I will try and post these a couple of weeks, at least a week in advance, so that you can get started on them. I don't want to post them too early just because, if someone brings up a great question and I want to continue talking about it in another forum, I do want to be able to change those questions, even though I have ideas of what the next questions will be. So that's pretty much the screencast for Blackboard. If you have any questions, you let me know. I'll click on instructor info to finish this screencast, and as you can see, this is where all my information is, my email. I'm pretty fast on email. I'm not fast between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. because I'm sleeping. And my work phone is there. My cell phone is in the syllabus, so if you need to call me on my cell phone, that's okay. You can go ahead and do that. And my office location and the office hours that are a little funky this summer. But otherwise, that's the screencast for the Multicultural Lit Blackboard site, and we will chat later.